Your cause and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now,
I'll take my talents to South Beach.
live from the capital of the Commonwealth, Fitz The Bill, with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good Tuesday, September 23rd morning. Welcome into Fitz The Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan alongside on this Tuesday morning on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, the ESPN Richmond app, and ESPNRichmond.com. Also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch the stream, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up, and you can watch live there. Never miss anything by liking, commenting, and subscribing so you get updated with everything that's happening over there on our social medias. And last night, the Lions looked like a pretty good football team, and we may have overreacted. Hand up, I was one of them. May have overreacted to week one. And I would argue that today, the Lions defense is a better unit than it was under Aaron Glenn. Now, I will say there's a caveat to that. I mean, Aaron Glenn did have to rebuild the entire defense, and last year he was handed, 12 injuries, 12 guys placed on injured reserve from his defense. But this unit this year with Aiden Hutchinson coming back, they look very good. And last night in the Lions' 38-31 win over the Ravens, Detroit sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times. They also had 6 tackles for loss. The Lions also hit Lamar 7 more times. They were generating pressure at a rate we haven't seen from them in a long time. And Lamar still looked like a superhuman, throwing for 288, 3 touchdowns. But it seemed as if the Lions' game plan was, hey, we're not going to let Derrick Henry beat us. He generated 30-some-odd yards on that opening drive. He capped it off with a 28-yard touchdown run. He only mustered, though, about 20 yards or so for the rest of the game. He finished with 12 attempts for 50 yards and had a game-deciding fumble, his 3rd fumble in 3 games. Things aren't looking too hot for Derrick Henry. But the Detroit Lions have not missed a step. I overreacted to that week 1 loss. I overreacted to the fact that they lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Because now looking back, that week 1 loss was to the Packers, the same Packers team that kind of embarrassed the Commanders in week 2, and then the same Packers team that went on to lose to the Browns. Make that make sense. But since that week 1 loss, the Lions are averaging 45 points and are the best offense in the league, according to EPA per play. And honestly, it's not particularly close. The Lions have been in a completely different tier than the rest of the league these last 2 weeks. And defensively, they're right around the middle of the pack. Not a drop-off at all from the Aaron Glenn era. I thought that the Super Bowl window may have been closed with both Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson leaving the team, plus all of those assistant coaches. However, last night's win was Morton, the new offensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepard, the new defensive coordinator, along with the help of Mr. Meathead himself, Dan Campbell, and of course the rest of the team. They all yanked that window back open. This is a Ravens team that was a trendy pick to win the Super Bowl, right? It was my pick to win the Super Bowl. And if games weren't 60 minutes, I'd be feeling really good about that. But these games are 60 minutes, and there is something about closing out games and capitalizing on opportunities that Baltimore seemingly lacks. They did it in week 1 against the Bills. They look like the better team for the first 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters in this game, and then they collapsed. The Ravens look like when the moment is big, the moment is too big. They don't really have that killer instinct, that X factor that you typically see in so many great teams. In this game, for the first 2.5, 3 quarters, the Ravens were moving the ball at will. Really, the only blemish on their record was the fact that they had that 4th down attempt deep into the Detroit Lions territory. I think it was on like the 1 or the 2 yard line. Lamar gets sacked, loses the ball, goes back out to the 20, but no harm, no foul, because then they forced a quick punt and they still scored a touchdown ahead of halftime. If you look back at week 1, they were the better team than the Bills for 55 minutes of 60, but couldn't finish. And now instead of being 3-0 going into a showdown with a very beatable Chiefs team, I mean, think of that. In that world where they're 3-0 going into that beatable Chiefs team, that's wins over the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs. the Bills, Lions, and Chiefs. That would be a very, very good resume to start the season. But instead, Baltimore 1-2. In a way, they are reeling from this opening stretch of the season. They are getting set now for as close to a must-win game as it could be. And we're very close to making the Ravens into a verb and calling late game meltdowns Baltimore. It was a unfortunate meltdown for the Ravens, but man, the Lions look good. The Lions, these last 2 weeks, their offense is cooking. John Morton has gone deep into his bag of tricks. That fourth down play call where it was a handoff to Amon-Ra St. Brown, then a pitch out to Jahmyr Gibbs on 4th and 1 on the goal line that gave Jahmyr Gibbs and the Lions a touchdown. That was a beautifully executed trick play, and the Lions look like they have not missed a step offensively from Ben Johnson. Heck, it looks like the Lions are the winner of this breakup with everything that's happening over there in Chicago. I know Chicago just got that win, but overall, those first 3 weeks, things are a little rough and rocky between Caleb and Ben Johnson. All right, let's update you with what else you may have missed in the wide world of sports overnight.
This is your Fitz The Bill morning update, getting you caught up on some of the biggest stories in sports.
All right, some injury updates in the NFL. Nick Bosa, the star defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers, will miss the remainder of the season with a torn right ACL. For the Dallas Cowboys, Pro Bowl wide receiver CeeDee Lamb could miss 3 to 4 weeks with a left high ankle sprain suffered in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Rookie right guard Tyler Booker, the Cowboys' first-round pick, is also looking at a 4 to 6 week absence due to his own high ankle sprain. Jerry Jones said that the IR is in consideration for both. Najee Harris, he'll miss the rest of the season as well for the Chargers. Harris suffered an Achilles tear in the second quarter of the win over the Denver Broncos. And more injury news, this time in the NBA. Fred VanVleet, the Houston Rockets veteran guard, tore his ACL, may miss the whole season. In college basketball, Bruce Pearl has stepped down as the men's basketball coach at Auburn, and he'll move into an ambassador's role in the athletic department as special assistant to the athletics director, the school announced yesterday. Stephen Pearl, Pearl's son, he received a 5-year contract as the program's new head coach. In college football, the ACC voted to move to a 9-conference game schedule. The how and when have yet to be decided, and they have to go to one final vote to confirm it. But ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips announced that the league voted to approve the move in overwhelming favor by the athletic directors. The ACC now joins the rest of the Power 4 conference with 9-game conference schedules. More numbers have come out in regards to Virginia Tech and raising its athletics budget. The school's Board of Visitors will hold a virtual meeting on September 30th to decide. In materials posted on the Board of Visitors webpage, Virginia Tech is asking for an additional $47.1 million for this upcoming season, 2026-27, bringing the total athletics department budget to $190.1 million. That number would increase to $212.1 million looking ahead to the 2029-30 school year. In MLB, the owners unanimously approved Patrick Zalipski's deal to buy the Tampa Bay Rays, reportedly worth $1.7 billion. And some sad news in the world of college football. Former App State football head coach and current UCF offensive line coach Sean Clark passed away Sunday night. Clark had suffered a medical emergency on September 9th, but was thought to be recovering and in stable condition. Clark was just 50 years old, and Scott Frost, the head coach of UCF, said, quote, "Sean was so much more than a coach. He was a remarkable man, husband, and father who cared deeply about his players and staff." So that's what you may have missed in the wide world of sports overnight. And it is Ryder Cup week. Stay tuned to 106.1 ESPN Richmond for leaderboard updates for the Ryder Cup live from Bethpage Black Golf Course in Farmingdale, New York, presented exclusively by Richmond LSV. Special financing available on all Bintelli low-speed vehicles through October at richmondlsv.com. Ryder Cup should be fun. Ryder Cup should be a very, very fun time. Alan, good morning. How are you doing? And are the Ravens cooked? Are the Ravens washed? I think the Ravens are washed.
No, they're not washed. They're not cooked either. Like we said yesterday, NFL is so week to week sometimes. That was kind of an example of that.
They're not winning the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, I said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's an identity issue.
That's what I mean. They're washed. They ain't winning a Super Bowl.
I wouldn't call them washed just because they ain't winning the Super Bowl. I mean, there's only one Super Bowl winner, and we can't have 31 other washed teams just because they didn't win the Super Bowl. Now, some people would say that because they're like, well, it's the Super Bowl or bust. But, I mean, you can still have a good season even though you don't win the Super Bowl. They should be contending. I will say that last night was the first time I've seen them be punks in a long time. Run defense is more of a mentality. It's more of a pride thing. I get that they're without their one of their star interior defensive linemen and so forth and so on. But, I mean, there's no way these guys are getting 6-7 yards before they're getting touched by a linebacker and things like that. Like the defensive line was getting pushed into safeties. I mean, It was embarrassing.
Justin Matabike was out last night, the star defensive tackle for the Ravens, and that seemed to be a pretty big blow to them. And
I mean, I watched Jalen Carter go away in week 1, and I didn't see the Cowboys get run over like that. They were going against Saquon Barkley and a just an equally formidable offensive line. But it was the effort of the Cowboys in week 1 that kept them from getting embarrassed like that. Like that was a game where if I'm Harbaugh, I'm on some everybody out, this locker room is closed type stuff. That was unacceptable by the defense.
Defense had the worst showing out of all 32 teams in terms of stopping the run last night. They allowed a successful run, which a successful run is defined as gaining 50% or more of the necessary yards to get a first down on first down, 50% or more on second down, and 100% on third and 100% on fourth. They allowed a successful rush on 59.5% of every single rushing play. That is horrible.
I can tell when the Lions are cooking when I can't tell who's in the backfield, if it's Montgomery or Gibbs, because Montgomery looked like Gibbs last night.
I mean, the way Montgomery was running, I'd argue Montgomery looked like the better running back, and I know he's not, but like, oh my goodness gracious, they were just slicing and dicing Baltimore's defense, and you're not used to seeing that from Baltimore's defense. Even last season when they were kind of going through the growing pains of the new defensive coordinator, they at least were able to slow down the run. Last night, the Lions were doing everything they could, and I mean, it was wild because in the first half, the defense was playing pretty well against the Detroit Lions, and then some sort of thing was maybe sprinkled on from new offensive coordinator John Morton. Some adjustments were made, and in the second half, Detroit just looked like the much better team than Baltimore.
Yeah, again, it helps to have Dan Campbell be the originator of their rushing attack. I think, again, people forget about that. But when he fired Anthony Lynn, he took that component over. I would say Ben Johnson elevated it, but the foundation of their system for their running game comes from Dan Campbell. So to me, the adjustment was just simply, look, we're just going to punch him in the mouth. Classic Dan Campbell move. Like we're gonna
punch you in the mouth, and
we don't need to be fancy. Hat on hat. We're stronger than these guys and tougher than these guys. Let's do it.
David Montgomery, 12 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. His long was 72 yards, 12.6 yards per pop. That is insane, and it wasn't anything fancy with David Montgomery. You watch the replays, and it was just Detroit was moving the Ravens guys. They're just moving them out of the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Jared Goff. He had that look. New iOS, new Apple came out, new iPhone came out. Jared Goff got an upgrade.
Well, this is the thing. He didn't have to do much. He did not have to do much.
He had a couple pretty good passes, though.
He had a couple fantastic passes. But like when your running back is cooking the way David Montgomery is, it takes so much pressure off of you as the passer, where I think he could play with a little bit more looseness, where he wasn't as worried of messing things up. Because when Jared Goff gets in his head, that's a dangerous place for anyone to be, specifically Jared Goff. And he got to get out of his head because he knew he could rely on his rushing attack. David Montgomery went for 151. Jahmyr Gibbs went for 67. In total, the team went for 224. They looked dynamic on the ground. And Jared Goff was hitting passes that I don't think he would normally hit on the road. He had one right in the bucket to Amon-Ra St. Brown,
that was a good one.
Who had 7 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Amon-Ra, there was a stat that popped up on the screen last night that absolutely blew me away. I think it said since, 2023? So last season, the beginning of this season and the start of 2023, maybe it was the start of 2024, but He had 159 targets and 139 catches with 0 drops. That is an insane number. That is insane both on the wide receiver side and the QB side, because we were looking at players over the weekend who had, who was it? I forget exactly who it was, but they had like 8 targets and 1 catch. So that's telling me that the quarterback's a little bit off the mark at times because he didn't have any drops. The quarterback was targeting that guy, but he was off the mark. That stat is just a testament to Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown being on the same page, having that chemistry. Because last night, St. Brown, 8 targets, 7 receptions. If Jared Goff was going his way, it was going to be on target, and Amon-Ra was going to catch it. And that is a trait that we don't see all that often in wide receivers anymore. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the best possession receivers. People think possession receivers is kind of a dirty word, kind of like game manager is for quarterbacks. No. I mean that in the most complimentary way. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you need 9 yards, he'll get you 10. If you need 3 yards, he'll get you 5. He is going to do everything it takes to keep you ahead of the sticks. And it was on full display last night. That Detroit offense is cooking. 17 points in the fourth quarter is dang impressive.
Yeah, man. And shout out to the slot merchant himself. I love that they called him that. But he's a crisp route runner, and he's just very consistent, right? And
very consistent.
And then, of course, you got to give credit to the Lions defense as well, because we talk on the flip side, the Ravens gave minimum effort. That Lions defense was all effort.
I mean, it was all effort. 7 sacks, 7 more QB hits, 6 more TFLs. And they held Derrick Henry just to 50 yards. It was an insane performance for the Detroit Lions defense. All right, let's get a quick break in here. Step aside. Be back. Lake Lewis Jr. will be joining us, our Raisin Hail Commanders insider and host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. He'll be calling in, talking with us about the Commanders' win over the Raiders. Stay with us.
Traffic reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
World Class Courts is proud to be a featured sponsor of the 2025 River City Tennis Open, October 3rd to 5th at the University of Richmond West Hampton Courts. We specialize in providing everything you need for any type of tennis court, whether it's clay, hard, or hybrid surfaces. As a manufacturer and supplier, World Class Courts offers surfaces and equipment for every kind of tennis court. We invite you to come and see our recent resurfacing work at the University of Richmond. For more information, visit us online at worldclasscourts.com.
With rising gas prices in the RVA, save money every time you fill up with the Fuel Rewards program at Bon Air Shell. Sign up today at bonairshell.com or stop by 8762 Huguenot Road.
Hey, it's Paul Sargent, owner of All Set Auto Richmond. How would you like the best paint protection film, ceramic coating, or window tint for your vehicle? At All Set Auto Richmond, we have the products, knowledge, and experience to enhance and protect your vehicle. I personally invite you to come over and visit us at All Set Auto Richmond. We're on Mayland Drive near 64 and Gaskins. Or feel free to Google us, All Set Auto Richmond. That's ALSET Auto Richmond. Protect your vehicle from the Richmond road elements and the hot sun with All Set Auto Richmond.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
The Green Top Outdoor Expo, sponsored by Daniel Defense, is back October 4th and 5th. Over 225 vendors and factory reps on site showcasing the latest products, plus seminars and fun for the whole family, including the Realtree Scavenger Hunt for kids. The Green Top Outdoor Expo.
Are you suffering from a sports injury, chronic pain, or something that just plain hurts?
Ortho Virginia can help get you on the road to recovery. As the state's largest provider of orthopedic care, Ortho Virginia's team of specialists offers surgical and non-surgical treatment options. With 12 offices conveniently located in the Richmond area, visit orthovirginia.com or call 804-915-1910 to discover why at Ortho Virginia, stronger starts here.
Cooler fall temperatures are coming, and that means perfect weather for a round of golf at Queenfield Golf Club. Queenfield is a beautifully secluded 18-hole course just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville that offers a spacious driving range, practice greens and bunkers, and professionally maintained golf course. Take the afternoon off or schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve your spot online at queenfieldgolf.com. Queenfield Golf Club, RVA's best kept secret.
PGA Ryder Cup leaderboard updates are brought to you by Richmond LSV's Fall Bentelli sales event now through October 31st. Low-speed vehicle special financing details online at richmondlsv.com.
106.1 ESPN traffic.
For those of you heading west on Cary Street Road, we are seeing some delays between Hillcrest Avenue and 3 Chopped. Heading north on Powhite Parkway, some touch and go between Midlothian Turnpike and Chippenham Parkway. Some delays heading north on Perrin Road between Derbyshire and Patterson Avenue. And there's been a crash on Chamberlain Road near Wilmer Avenue.
Statewide sports, straight talk, and no love. Border to Border with Matt Josephs on 106.1 ESPN. Your daily dose of hard-hitting Virginia sports debate. Don't miss this.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Tuesday, September 23rd morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside, and going out to the phone lines now is Lake Lewis Jr., a Raising Hail Commanders insider and host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube. Good morning, Lake. Thank you for taking some time and chatting with us.
Hey, how's it going?
It feels a lot better this week talking to you following a dominant Commanders win rather than the Thursday night debacle up in Green Bay. I hope your travel was much easier to land over Maryland than it was to Green Bay.
Yeah, and that's actually why I'm not in studio with you today, because I'm still here. So yeah, had another event to do afterwards. So yeah, I'll be heading back to Richmond later today. But yeah, it's always good to get a W.
So let's start here with the injuries, get it right out of the way at the top. Then we'll dive into the game and what's ahead. Jaden Daniels did not play in that win over the Raiders. Marcus Mariota had a very, very solid performance. But what's the latest update on Jaden Daniels' knee?
It's going to be day to day. Dan Quinn told us yesterday in our presser that he's still day to day and that they'll know pretty much by Wednesday, tomorrow, as far as the type of, attack they're going to have on him as far as to see, what he's capable of doing. So pretty much in a nutshell, what that code word is, you're not going to know anything until Friday. But I have to tell you, seeing how Marcus moved the ball around with the offense, I kind of get the idea that if Jaden's not 95% or better, he's not going to play against Atlanta. And I don't know if they're going to need him to play against Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's struggling a little bit. A goose egg up on the board after that Panthers game.
Exactly. And I know, you can't write off any team in the NFL. I mean, just look at what happened to the Packers against Cleveland, so you just have to show up and play. But I do think when you saw that kind of performance of Michael Penix being benched, perhaps it's just an anomaly of a game, or it could be maybe, the Falcons aren't as good as they looked a couple weeks ago against the Minnesota Vikings. So I think that there is a legit chance that Jaden sits this one out.
And Terry McLaurin got hurt late in the game on that play where he was trying to extend for the touchdown. They ruled it wasn't a touchdown. Commanders still score. It's fine. But Terry does get hurt. What's the status with him? He's listed as questionable. Will he play? How do you see that progressing throughout the week for Terry McLaurin?
I think he's going to be okay. I mean, they had a litany of injuries in this game. Some of them were serious, like Will Harris, who's probably going to be out for the foreseeable future, with a fractured fibula. But outside of that, I think a lot of the guys, Trey Amos, was listed as, questionable before his return, and he didn't return because of a calf injury. But I think a lot of that has to do with blowout, that was going on because they were beating the Raiders so bad. You really didn't need to risk putting anyone back in, kind of let them get ahead of schedule as far as recovering from their injuries. But I think a lot of these guys, if these were playoff games, they would be playing. So I don't want people to be too alarmed with Terry. I mean, yeah, people were saying, see, he wasn't in practice all summer, and this is what happened. No, I mean, it was him stretching out for a touchdown that should have been called for him, by the way. That was a terrible call. So I think a lot of these guys are going to be okay.
And now looking ahead to this game against the Falcons, Marcus Mariota, that offense, it was firing on all cylinders. It seemed like Cliff went back to what was working, right? The rush attack, which worked so well against the Giants, which was kind of their bread and butter a season ago. Felt like they got away from that in that Packers game. But Mariota being the quarterback almost forced Cliff to go back to that rushing attack. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I mean, you called it, and I think a lot of us were like, "Where was this?" Last Thursday. That was the game plan to be able to beat a Packers team. Play defense against them, make them turn the ball over and run the football. That's what the Cleveland Browns just did this past weekend, and they won. Had a big special teams play as well. So I think having Marcus in there was more of a calming presence because. Let's face it, he's a veteran. He's a guy that's been in the league for a while, and sometimes you see things that maybe even a great player like Jaden doesn't see at this point of his maturation of his career yet. So, I think for Jaden, it was good to be able to watch a game finally, from the sidelines where you didn't start, you didn't suit up. He was upstairs, didn't come down to the field until after the game, late in the fourth quarter. I mean, so he got a chance to see the game from different angles, and I think that he'll be better for it. But yeah, Cliff called a really good football game. Honestly, they probably should have hung at least 50 on these guys. It was a game that was meant to be had early. They just kind of stumbled along until, like midway through the second quarter when everything started to click for them.
So where's the fountain of youth that Washington seemingly has? Bobby Wagner had 2 sacks, tied a career high. I think Von Miller had a sack as well. These old guys on the Washington Commanders, and I know they're not real world old, but man, are they long in the tooth in football world. What is the defense doing to get the most out of these older guys?
Yeah, it's a combination of play calling, and you have to give credit to Joe Witt Jr. He was he was feeling a little tight around the collar, you could tell, leading up to the game. But I think that, when you look at the way they're using these guys, they're letting them play their games. They're not asking them to do things that they're not capable of doing. And for the first time, we saw Bobby stay close to the line of scrimmage. That's his bread and butter. That's why he's going to be first ballot Hall of Famer when he hangs his cleats up. And they didn't have him covering tight ends all over the field. They didn't have him dropping back. Matter of fact, that was the first Frankie Louvu sighting as well. He's not old in the tooth, of course. He's younger. But the way they used these guys, they let them do what they could do. Von Miller had a couple quarterback pressures as well outside of the sack. So he really had his best game as a Commander. But yeah, these guys have found kind of a fountain of youth. I think the fact that they can just blend in and be themselves is a big key for them.
Lake Lewis Jr. joining us, hosting the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube. Lake, you now going down to the ATL, taking on this Falcons team, which is coming off of, frankly, an embarrassing loss. A 30-0 loss to the Carolina Panthers is very embarrassing. Not being able to hang a point up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL does not bode well for Atlanta. Do you think Washington can use this as an opportunity to build up some momentum heading into their game in LA against the Chargers, which could kind of be a good litmus test for how good this Commanders team is?
Absolutely. I mean, these are the type of games, if you want to be who you think you are, you have to go out and show it and prove it. And that's beat a team that you should be better than. And the Falcons aren't as bad as they look, last week against the Panthers. And I don't think they're as good as they looked a couple weeks ago against Minnesota. So they're kind of right in between. But if you're Washington, you can't go into Atlanta and take that team lightly, because the worst thing that you know is going to happen is they're going to come out with more desire and more hunger, considering the performance that they just had. Teams coming off losses in the NFL are wounded and they're hungrier. So if you're Washington, you have to go down there, take care of business. It should be a pretty, I don't want to say a home atmosphere for Washington, but I can tell you there's a lot of Commander fans that will be traveling to Atlanta and that are already in Atlanta. So it may be like 60-40 Atlanta as far as the fan base, but that 40% is loud enough to give Washington an extra oomph going into that stadium.
And Atlanta kind of known for not having a great home field advantage. I know like often their tickets are listed for like under $5. It's not necessarily the most raucous home atmosphere when Atlanta's bad.
Yeah. If you're Washington, you want to take advantage of that, and it's a quick trip as well. I know for me flying out of Richmond, it's like an hour flight getting there. So I mean, it's just something we're all excited about. I'm coming back directly after the game, so I'll be home by 8:30, Sunday night. So which will be great. But yeah, you want to go down there, you want to take care of business, and again, if you win this game, everything is looked at in quarters. So for Washington, if you told yourself, if you told me that after the first quarter of the season that they could be 3-1, I think most people would sign up for that. And they're sitting there looking at that right down the barrel. If they win the 3-1 with a huge test, we fly out to LA for that game. So yeah, I mean, and it also could be a nice build up for that too. Jaden coming back to SoCal. It would be a really nice matchup.
And 3-1, I think, sign up for that. But also, it's kind of expected. Like looking at how they started the year, Giants, Packers, Raiders, Falcons. If they're able to win this Falcons game, of course, nothing is guaranteed. But you kind of finish that out, and you're like, 3-1 makes sense. You probably lose to the Packers. They're about in lockstep with what we expected out of them coming into the season, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, I had them 4-0. I literally, before the season started, me and my outrageous predictions, but I thought this was a 13-win football team. And I still think that they're capable. It's going to be tough, yes, because the league is so much better, so much parity. But still, even when the Bears come to town in a couple of weeks, you look at games like that as games that if you want to be the Philadelphias, if you want to be, and I'm not going to even put the Packers in there, but I'm going to say if you want to be the Buffaloes of the world, teams like that, even when you don't play your best football, you still win a game. The Eagles were getting trounced on Sunday and just, dug down deep and found a way. And that's the difference between them and, say, the team they beat in the Rams, who have all the talent in the world to be able to beat Philadelphia. But you haven't done it. So therefore, I know the Rams won a Super Bowl a couple years back, but that's not the same team. They have the same quarterback and coach, of course, but still, if you're Washington, these are the games going up against Atlanta that you want to be able to win, because then you travel to LA, and that's going to be a game where you really will find out how good you are or how good you're not. Even more so than, say, like the Packers game, because that was on a short week, and it's literally hell getting in and out of Wisconsin travel-wise, and I'm sorry, but that's just the fact. So to be able to fly into LAX, whatever, go to SoCal, new modern stadium, it gives you an opportunity to really see where you are. They will have a disadvantage traveling across the country, of course, and I know we're talking 2 weeks out, and we're not talking Atlanta, but I'm just saying everything is there for Washington to be able to show the football world that, don't forget about us, because no one's talking about them. When they talk about the NFC and you see all these odds to win the NFC, Washington's like 6, and I can't see that.
The Packers game, I feel like, took a lot of the shine off of them. It made people kind of hesitate, like, oh, maybe we were too aggressive in picking them to win. But I think the Raiders game, it did what it needed to do. That's what good teams do. It's dominate a bad team, and you've got to do it again now against the Falcons. And Lake, you're about to be a traveling man, because 4 of the next 6 games, 5 games, whatever it is, all on the road. I mean, you got Atlanta, then Chargers, then you're home for Chicago, but then Dallas, Kansas City. I know you're going to be very tired after this next stretch, but how is the team preparing for what is a very difficult part of their schedule in terms of travel?
Yeah, one thing I do like about the new regime here, they're not new anymore. They're a year into it, but they're really good on analytics and how they rest guys. And, they're not, banging in pads during practice during the week at times, they try to give guys a chance to rest their bodies, and that's key, especially when you travel. A lot of people don't realize, but injuries in the air have a way to kind of flare up. Those are things that I've learned medically that, that's the reason why they don't let people who have concussions fly right away, so it's little things like that this team pays a lot of attention to. So I think they'll be fine. I think some of the additions that they picked up to, kind of help them depth-wise will help as well. So you don't have to keep guys playing when they're hurt. Hence, look at Jaden. You have a quality backup who will be a starter on a lot of teams in the NFL the way he's playing. So, yeah, I think with this travel schedule coming up for all of us, I mean, even myself, man, I'm going to have to find ways to, get the rest when needed.
Hydrate. That's what I've learned. You got to hydrate a lot when flying. For some reason, flying dehydrates you for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Lake, appreciate you taking some time out of your morning to chat with us. I can't wait to catch up again next week.
All right. Good seeing you, my friend. Take care.
Yeah, of course. There goes Lake Lewis Jr., host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show on YouTube, and our Raise and Hail Commanders insider, giving us all the insights, looking ahead to the game this weekend at Atlanta. Some injuries for sure. Jaden still not practicing, still day-to-day. Terry McLaurin questionable, but good insights there from Lake on what to expect. He expects Terry to go and Jaden Daniels, but the way Marcus Mariota played in that game, maybe they keep Jaden on the bench for another week and set it up for a massive QB showdown between Justin Herbert and Jaden Daniels on October 5th in LA against the Chargers. So a lot to look ahead for. Exciting for the Washington Commanders as they sit 2-1 following their 41-24 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, let's get a break in here. Step aside. We'll be back. A little news or snooze action on this Tuesday, September 23rd morning.
Richmond Kickers soccer games in the fall is a RVA tradition. Just a few games left at City Stadium this season. Reserve your tickets online at richmondkickers.com.
Progressive knows there's so many great things about being a sports fan. Like scoring the company box seats. How great is that? Trick plays that actually work. Prevent defense when your team is winning by a lot. And even more preventative prevent defense as they're hanging on by a thread. And of course, saving money when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's pretty great. Just like trick plays that actually work.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
Complaining about sports? Not so great. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See? Doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
It's Bo time. Fumble in the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor, fluffy, scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixins to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's Bo time.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Driven by an unwavering passion for real estate, Wes Attia with Joyner Fine Properties consistently goes above and beyond for his clients. Wes is dedicated to ensuring that every step of your home selling or buying journey is met with unparalleled dedication, expertise, and a genuine commitment to exceeding your expectations. Wes is a proud sponsor and founder of the River City Tennis Open, supporting local charities benefiting RVA youths, and can be found at isellrichmondhomes.com.
We're more than a station. We're a sports community. Braves, Spiders, NFL, NBA, MLB, NASCAR, Talk shows, big games, local heroes. 106.1 ESPN Richmond is where Richmond talks sports. Want your brand in the mix? Advertise with us today. Call 804-330-5700 or email espnrva@summitmediacorp.com. Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
106.1 ESPN weather.
It's currently 64 degrees and sunny with a high today of 84 and a low of 61. We're seeing clear and sunny skies throughout the morning with clouds rolling in around noon and partly cloudy skies throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. Gusts of wind are up to 13 miles per hour. And taking a look at tomorrow, we're seeing a slight chance of scattered showers, a high of 84 and a low of 65.
Roll down the windows and crank up the sports huddle. Join the voice of the Richmond Spiders, Bob Black, every weekday. From stats to strategy, he's your rush hour MVP. Drive time just became prime time. News or snooze.
All right, news or snooze. Looks like we've got some good topics today, unlike yesterday.
Yesterday was a great topic.
Actually, we got a repeat topic. Brian Daboll and the Giants evaluating everything at the QB position.
He that is a direct quote from him, though. He is in a rough spot.
This guy again?
This guy, all he has to do is answer quarterback questions. This is snoozeworthy, though. The last time that this guy was talking about this, he ended up still going with Russell Wilson. So I don't buy what he's selling. I don't think they're actually evaluating everything. I think they'll stick with Jackson Dart for the foreseeable future. Stick with Russell Wilson for the foreseeable future, and then maybe go with Jackson Dart in the last couple of weeks of the year. But I don't see them making some gigantic change now, even though they're, quote, evaluating everything. Brian Daboll has shown that he probably won't make a change.
So two things are confusing me here. One, what is there to evaluate? Again, we're in week 3. You had this. You literally said this in week 1.
If you're evaluating everything, then you should have already figured it out because you have seen what you've needed to see. Throw week 2 out because that is a complete outlier. The Dallas Cowboys stink. Their defense is horrible. And you look at what happened in week 1, Russell Wilson couldn't do anything. What happened in week 3, Russell Wilson couldn't do anything. You look at the preseason, Jackson Dart was clearly your best quarterback. If you are evaluating everything, you should come to the conclusion that Jackson Dart is your best option. Now, this is probably the spot. If you're going to put Jackson Dart in, you're going to want to do it now and rather than in a couple of weeks. Because if you do it now, you've got the Chargers, a good defense. Then you got the Saints, a bad team. And then you go into the gauntlet of Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, 49ers. Like, if you don't put them in this week or next, you probably are not going to put them in against the Eagles, against the Broncos, against the Eagles, or against the 49ers. Because all of those, we'll see how the 49ers defense is without Nick Bosa. But
I can tell you how it is.
Bad?
Yeah.
So maybe that's your next option is that game against the 49ers. But if you don't put them in this week or next, then like you're punting on the season and you're saying this is a completely developmental year for Jackson Dart, which is fine. But then don't blow smoke about how you're evaluating everything about who gives you the best chance to win. If that's the case, you got Jackson Dart right there who gives you the best chance to win.
But I can't say that it's fine either, because if I'm a Giants fan, what are we doing as an organization? Like, how much time does Brian Daboll and the general manager, I forgot his name.
Shane.
Yeah, how much time do they have? Because Daboll saying this in week 3 lets me know there's no urgency on his part or the GM part. There's no pressure being put on him. There needs to be a hot seat, man. There needs to be open talk about this needs to change or get better or look better, or everybody's out of here.
I truly believe that he has job security through the 2026 season.
Which is crazy.
I think the way it's all unfolding, I believe that he knows he is safe through this year. And next year is when he will be judged, because next year is when Jackson Dart will be starting. Like the Giants are in this hellhole until 2027. Like that's the unfortunate reality for Giants fans.
There's so much talent on that team too.
You got,
especially on the defense.
You have maybe the best front four in the National Football League. Yeah. And that's not a crazy thing to say. Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence. Abdul Carter may be a top 5 edge rusher by next year. Dexter Lawrence is the best, if not second best defensive tackle in the National Football League right now. You just don't know that because it's the Giants and no one ever talks about him. Kayvon Thibodeau is a good, not great edge rusher, and Brian Burns is a top 10 edge rusher in the National Football League. There is not a collection of talent anywhere in the NFL like that on the defensive line. And what are they doing? They're playing around with Russell Wilson on the offensive side. It's a disgrace.
I don't understand. Number 2, Derrick Henry, 3 fumbles in 3 games.
Newsworthy. Is old Father Time catching up to Derrick Henry?
I don't think fumbles signal a decline. I think fumbles is a technical issue. If Tiki Barber can figure it out, so can Derrick Henry. Dude, protect the rock, run more secure, keep the ball high and tight. All the fundamental things they tell you.
Every cliche.
Yeah, but the punch outs were good. The punch out yesterday was good. The punch out, I think, against the Bills was pretty good. The only way to protect yourself from a punch out is high and tight, really.
Yeah, and you look at the advanced numbers, they still are top 10 in the NFL in success rate. They still are running the ball pretty effectively. They're
except for on the goal line.
Derrick Henry's the weirdest running back in the world. Dude's 6'1", 240, but he's not a good downhill I'm going to take you up.
He's a locomotive. He got to get going. If you can hit Derrick Henry at the line of scrimmage or before
you're going to win.
You're going to win 99% of the time.
Like his 28-yard run, you saw what happened. They opened up the Red Seas, and all of a sudden he got a couple head of steam, and then
if he gets past the line of scrimmage, God can't help you.
He also turns in the most unathletic looking way.
He's huge.
He's and he just lumbers, and when he turns, it's like having to turn an entire train. It's like,
I respect Derrick Henry because I could have sworn after Jerome Bettis, they'd never let a running back his size run the ball again. Like Derrick Henry's too tall and too big, honestly, by the general standard of what we say of running backs. He would not fit that scope.
Yeah.
But he has been highly successful and highly durable. All things considered. So I appreciate his career. I'm not tripping too hard.
He's got to fix those fumbles.
The fumbles, but high and tight will fix that, man. Like guys are punching the ball out. I mean, come on, be tougher.
Yeah, just stop fumbling and just start getting back to what you were doing against the Bills.
Not as bad as Tiki and a couple other guys. Like they were really bad.
Ramondre Stevenson up in New England. He right now is having a massive fumble problem.
Since we're here, real quick, why do people hate Travion Henderson, man? He went through this crap at Ohio State. He's the best back on the team. Give the man the rock. Let him play. What are we waiting on?
He's RB3 right now. Antonio
he's such a playmaker. He had to deal with that crap with Ohio State sometimes. I'm like, why is he on the bench? He's your best playmaker.
Hey, I don't make the rules. Mike Vrabel hates rookies. Mike Vrabel's an old school coach.
I don't care. Winning is not old school or new school. Winning is the fundamental principle of why we're here.
Winning is current school.
So why are you not giving yourself the best chance to win? If you hated rookies, you didn't hate Drake May. They let him play. I mean, I know that was before Vrabel, but Vrabel's had rookie quarterbacks and rookie position players before.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
He let them play.
You're not wrong.
It's ridiculous.
All right, what's
Free Travion? All right, number 3. ACC OK's 9 league games aligns with the rest of the P4.
This is really newsworthy for a couple reasons. One, for the ACC, it now, like the headline says, it aligns them with the rest of the Power 4 conferences. So now every single Power 4, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and now ACC will play 9 league games. With that, it's going to hit the group of 5, the group of 6, pretty aggressively, because it's taking a lot of non-conference opportunities off of the table for those group of 5, group of 6 schools to try and boost up their college football playoff resume. But for the ACC, in and of itself, it aligns them with the rest of the P4. However, Alan, I'm not sure how much this will help them.
It's not going to help.
Because the bottom of the ACC is worse than the best group of 5 teams that you could bring in to play.
Absolutely.
Like a JMU Virginia Tech game would do better Actually, Virginia Tech is, according to EPA right now, the worst team in the ACC. So maybe that's a bad example. Let's say UVA JMU or UVA ODU would do more good for UVA's overall resume than UVA playing Virginia Tech at the end of the season.
Or UVA playing Wake Forest.
Currently, the ACC has 6 teams worse than 75th in the nation in expected points added margin. So that just adds up your EPA on offense and your EPA allowed on defense, and it figures it out. EPA, like I've said, it's a very good measure. It accounts for everything. And if you're looking for the best stat to figure out how good a team is, EPA is one of the best stats out there. And the ACC has 75 teams below 75th in the nation. No other conference has more than 4.
It's a bit tone deaf to me because it says to me that the ACC thinks they're just like everybody else, and they're not.
They are not.
The Big 12 shouldn't do this either.
The Big 12 should not either but you know why they're doing it is because the SEC and the Big 10 have done it, which takes a lot of non-conference opportunities off of the table. And the ACC, the Big 12 saw the writing on the wall where, the big boys in the power conferences, they're consolidating the power amongst themselves, and it won't give us a lot of opportunities to play those non-conference games against them, forcing us to play group of 5 teams, which for the Big 12 and the ACC, if you're playing the best team out of the American Athletic Conference or the best team out of the Sun Belt, or heck, even the best team out of the Conference USA, you're probably playing a better game than if you were playing the worst team in your own conference. Like, that's just the nature of what the ACC and the Big 12 is right now. But it's newsworthy for a lot of those reasons. And they're thinking that it could help them boost their resume in the eyes of the college football playoff. But it's not going to do it. It's not going to boost them as much as they probably
works
would
better
want.
for basketball, not for football.
Even then, ACC's been struggling in basketball.
That's true.
Like, you've got...
Throw the whole conference away.
They think that a Clemson-Wake Forest game will help Clemson more than Clemson playing Tulane. Clemson's probably not the right example because they stink, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying. And again, I know it's trying to keep up with the Joneses, but I just don't necessarily agree with the idea that
keeping up with the Joneses is how you go broke.
Yeah, or how you end up in a situation where you realize even more so that you're not like them. Like, again, if we get to this point where your key games are still being featured on the CW and stuff like that, it's gonna come around at some point that people don't care about, your top team versus Wake Forest and some of these other things. Because there's a lot of schools in the ACC that don't take football seriously. I have a UVA rant about an email that one of my friends sent me that they got in preparation for the game this weekend. It's just absolutely goofy. All things considered, how big this game is, but it's what I expect from the University of Virginia.
UVA sent out the email saying that all classes, everything will be going on.
They just don't take it that serious, right?
If this was at an SEC school, all classes would be canceled and be tailgating all day. Yep. but not a UVA. Classes still unscheduled.
That's fine. If that, obviously you're an educational institution first.
But that's Ivy League stuff. That literally Ivy League stuff.
You wonder why people don't take you serious.
The best part of all of this is the ACC has so many teams, right? And it all makes very little sense. David Teal is reporting that the new model is going to start next season, but not really start next season because several teams in the ACC have contracts they have to fulfill next year that won't allow them to get to 9 games. So a good portion of the ACC will still play 8 games in conference play rather than 9, but it's going to start next season. And then beginning in 2027, 16 of the 17 ACC teams will play 9 games. 1 will play 8 to make the math work. That 1 will likely rotate. So they can't even get the math right.
Again, doing the most to keep up with everybody else.
How confusing is that going to be? It's probably not going to be actually that confusing, but geez Louise, every 17th year you have 8 conference games because your conference can't make the math work with 9. What are you doing? What are you doing, ACC? And then you're going to start it next year, but a good number of the ACC schools won't be able to start it next year because they have to fulfill non-conference commitments. And for Virginia Tech, it's really funny because Virginia Tech doesn't have enough Power 4 teams on their schedule next year. And the ACC is requiring teams to have 10 Power 4 conference games on their schedule next year. And for Virginia Tech, they have 4 non-conference games next season, but only one of them are against a Power 4 opponent. And Tim Thomas from Tech Lunch Pail is saying that they've got VMI, ODU, JMU. One of them would have to be canceled if they are going to fit this verdict, this mandate from the ACC. This is all a complete mess here to start. Only the ACC would do this.
I mean, Jim Phillips is at least trying. I think that was the standard we set, that we have a commissioner that tries, and he's doing the best he can.
He's doing the best he can. He
doesn't make sense all the time, but he's doing the best he can.
Look, maybe you shouldn't have taken Cal and Stanford. Maybe something like that, because your math, like, it is just objectively hilarious to me how they're like, all right, we're going to go to 9 games, except for one team, which will rotate every year, who plays 8 because we can't make the math work. What? Then why'd we start this? Like, huh? Just mandate that your teams schedule non-conference games that fit X, Y, and Z. Like, that's the solution. Like I said, a game between Clemson and Tulane would do more for Clemson in a win than Clemson against Wake, Clemson against Virginia Tech, Miami against Memphis, Miami against JMU, Miami against, heck, Jacksonville State would do better than a game against Virginia Tech, because the bottom of the ACC is not very good. Jim Phillips and the rest of the ACC has to figure out a way how to rise up the bottom, because as it stands right now, they are the worst conference among all P4 conferences. The worst. And it's not particularly close. Big 12 is better. Big 12 does not have as many teams near the bottom of the country in EPA margin as the ACC does. And yet the ACC is like, we want to play we want more games against the worst teams in our conference. Make that make sense. It just doesn't. All right, coming up, hour number 2, we've got a fantastic second hour locked and loaded. Russ Huesman joining at 9:30, head coach of the Richmond Spiders, breaking down their big home opener win against VMI and looking ahead to this weekend's game against Howard. That will be at around 9:30 this morning. And we also got to break down. It's a question I've been wrestling with for quite some time. Is Caleb Williams fixed? Or is the Dallas defense just horrible? We got to dive into that. And Virginia Tech, more numbers have been coming out over the last 24 hours on how things will be broken down. Doug Bowman at VT Scoop 247 did a very good breakdown. So we'll talk about some of the new numbers that Virginia Tech has released in regards to their increased budget proposal. All that coming up in hour number 2. You do not want to miss it. Right here, 106.1 ESPN Richmond, where Richmond talks sports.
The 7th annual River City Tennis Open was created to support local charities benefiting local youth organizations in RVA, October 3rd through 5th at UR Tennis Facility. Online at rivercitytennisopen.com.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Hey, it's Paul Sargent, owner of All Set Auto Richmond. How would you like the best paint protection film, ceramic coating, or window tint for your vehicle? At All Set Auto Richmond, we have the products, knowledge, and experience to enhance and protect your vehicle. I personally invite you to come over and visit us at All Set Auto Richmond. We're on Malin Drive near 64 and Gaskins. Or feel free to Google us, All Set Auto Richmond. That's ALSET Auto Richmond. All Set Auto Richmond. We can take any vehicle from ordinary to extraordinary.
You don't have to be just a number when it comes to your health care. The average doctor cares for 4,000 patients per year, while a Welcome MD doctor like Dr. Richard Peoples sees less than 400 patients per year. This means you get better personalized health care specific to your needs. Aren't you worth it? Make an appointment today with Dr. Peoples at 804-774-7099 or visit welcomemd.com. Mention this ad for a special discount. Welcome MD.
From the ESPN studio, presented by Ortho Virginia. Find one of Ortho Virginia's orthopedic locations at orthovirginia.com. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN. You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 1061 ESPN.
Welcome in hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick Allen alongside on this Tuesday, September 23rd morning, right here on 1061 ESPN Richmond, the ESPN Richmond app, and ESPNRichmond.com. We're also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch the stream, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up, and you can watch live on Twitter and YouTube. Be sure to like, rate, subscribe, comment, do all of those fun things as well. And of course, we want to hear from you in hour number 2, 804-327-0888. Russ Huesman will be joining the show, head coach of Richmond football, at around 9:30 to discuss the VMI win and look ahead to this weekend's game against Howard as well.
Hey, there's some good locker room content on YouTube too from the game on Sunday. Well.
Very, very good. So while you're there watching the stream on YouTube, check out all the locker room interviews that Jordan Allen did. Really great insights. You got a couple from Debo Samuel as well, right?
Yeah, we got him reacting to Jalen Lane's touchdown, and then Coach Quinn getting knocked over and bleeding.
Hey, he popped up like toast.
Yeah, he did. He did pop up.
I've never heard that saying before.
That'll get attacked on our
text line. Yeah. Hey, Alan Sanfrantrino, looking good, baby.
Gaslit. Hey, look, we lost Bosa, and we're still not scoring touchdowns like.
Hey, but
we need to.
Brock Purdy might be back.
Let's check this. Let's check this again, and like, you know what? Matter of fact, let's go back to what Lake said, because Lake was right. I do this for gambling, and fans should do this too. NFL in quarters. So Niners at worst are going to go 3-1 in their first 4 games. That is good, no matter what I say. That is good.
Yes.
Let's check back.
That is so much more positive than yesterday.
Yes. Let's check back around like week 9 and let's see what our record is. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I will agree with you on that. Is a fair way to look at it.
Because again, there's winning and there's scraping by. I think the Niners are scraping by. I go back probably about 4 or 5 years when, or maybe it was longer than that, but there was a season where Big Ben was doing his little thing in Pittsburgh.
Was it 21?
Yeah, they scraped by
20
so
or 21.
many games.
They started the season like 11-0, and then they were, but like all the underlying metrics were like, this is the worst 11-0 team we've ever seen.
Yes, and once the rubber met the road in the playoffs,
I think the Browns beat them in the playoffs.
But to you know what? So I don't want that. I don't want that for my team. I just know that whatever it takes to win a Super Bowl in today's NFL, the Niners don't have it, and they're not showing it, right? Like it looks exactly how it's looked the last several years, and that's just not good enough right now. So that's just me being a pessimistic fan, I guess. It is what it is.
A team that's not scraping by right now are the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, look, the Chiefs scraped by until the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, you see what happened. But yes, the Lions are not scraping
and then you got a Baltimore Ravens squad on the other side that's scraping by negatively, like scraping by finding new ways to lose games. Week 1, you blow the lead against the Buffalo Bills. Week 3, you look like the better team in the first half, but you can't capitalize on enough moments. So you go into the halftime break tied at 14 apiece. And in the second half, Detroit just kind of leans on you with their run game. David Montgomery goes for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs goes for 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jared Goff goes for 202 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, and Detroit's defensive line was the story of this game, sacking Lamar 7 times.
What did you think about the touchdown at the end? Did you not like that?
The Jahmyr Gibbs?
No, it was Montgomery, I think, was the one that scored the last touchdown, because there was some confusion people were saying he should have gotten down. Goff wanted him to get down.
Oh, because then if you go down, you could have just drained the clock.
Yeah.
Instead, you give. I mean, analytically speaking, you would go down.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean,
yeah, you know, it's crazy
in the
about
moment.
The only
I
reason
wasn't
why
like,
I'm
go down.
hesitating is because that onside kick was really good, and if it had been attacked properly, it could have got ugly. It could have got ugly. So I was thinking that the whole time too. I was like, man, it would be their luck. All the crazy kicks we've seen, that we're gonna see a onside kick recovery.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he should have gone down because the best way to win a game is keeping it in your own possession and just avoiding any type of thing.
But how could you go down after that run, man? The highlights were on Get Up, just so people know. That's why I'm bringing it up. But like even on that run, every single run basically in the second half is about 5-6 yards before somebody touched them.
Montgomery averaged 12.6 yards per carry.
That's insane.
That's boosted up a little bit from his 72-yard run, but still, like, they were just leaning on him. Like, it seemed like flip side from Ashton Genty, who gets hit 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh, God, if Ashton Genty was behind this offensive line, it'd be a problem for real.
Hey, Detroit, I don't know what Las Vegas's phone number is.
They'll never let him go, man.
We'll trade Jameer Gibbs, Ashton Genty straight up.
How long did it take him to get rid of Jacobs? About 5-6 years?
6 years.
Yeah.
And the only reason they got rid of him is because he just like didn't want to be franchise tagged again.
Yeah, and he was bulking on the money, I think. I think he wanted to be paid top dollar too. And
he got a pretty good deal from Green Bay.
No, he's been fine in Green Bay. I think Green Bay just has a good rhythm to their offense. And
who needs a wide receiver one?
Yeah, it's not 7-8 yards a carry, but it's very methodical and it serves a purpose. But man, just I can't give the Lions enough praise last night, and I can't beat the Ravens up enough last night.
It was like Lamar looked good. He only had 6 incompletions, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I was watching the game last night, and my intrusive thought was, it really stinks that Lamar Jackson is going to join the ranks of Dan Marino as these all-time great quarterbacks.
I think he'll get one.
I don't think he will, man.
I think he'll get one. He's too much of a playmaker not to get one. He can luck into one.
There were plays last night where I was just like, how is he not getting sacked? Then he would get sacked and live by the sword, die by the sword.
Well,
right?
I will say this. They said something along the lines of Harbaugh saying like you got to take him holding the ball with the playmaking ability. I disagree. I think that Monken, he did this before. He has plays in his playbook where it just doesn't make any sense at this level of football. And he should know better. You don't have 6 seconds. You got 2 max, right? And
he relies on a quarterback that can create 6 seconds.
Yeah. So I'm like, that just didn't make any sense. Like, there should never not be a receiver running a crossing pattern for Lamar Jackson. One, all their guys are short, twitchy guys anyway, so it makes sense. But then 2, with his ability to extend plays, that should always be his check down. Like, you always know you got a guy going across the middle of the field, right? Going wherever you're rolling. But I don't know. They could have designed some of those passing concepts better last night, and I think it bit him in the butt because he ended up getting sacked by some really calculated pressure.
Sacked 7 times. What John Harbaugh was saying was he's not going to throw it away. So you're going to get the big plays, but you're also going to get the big losses. It's kind of like Barry Sanders with the Detroit Lions. You're going to get these home run magical runs. He also led the league in yards lost.
I never saw Barry make a bad run. I'm sorry. That's just my bias.
Oh, okay. When he loses 20 yards. Hey, that's all he could get there.
Those highlights that we see on YouTube, that's exactly how it looked every day. Every time he touched the ball.
I do wish I grew up in a world where I could watch Barry Sanders live.
Oh, man, it was
Lamar Jackson might be the closest thing to that.
I'm not going to lie. That might be true as far as like the highs and lows where you're just like, oh my God, did you see that? What are you doing?
Yeah. It was there like the one where he had the ball stripped away from him when they were on 4th and 1 at the tail end of the first half. It was just like, Lamar, what are you doing? There was a stat that popped up. He has 2 throwaways over the last 2 seasons, which is tied for the second fewest in the NFL.
And I'll point to that as one of the plays that I think was poorly designed. Like, you rolled them out to the short side of the field.
Yes.
And they're clearly in some kind of zone, but it's just too many bodies. It's too much traffic. And I think he had a guy off the line open, but somebody jumped in front of him, so he had to hesitate.
And a Derrick Henry, like, weird halfback pass that they ran too. Like,
he shouldn't have thrown that.
Well, and also he had Lamar Jackson wide open on the other side of the field.
Never looked back the left way, but
that's like another thing where you're at that point in the field, either hand it to Derrick Henry or throw it to Mark Andrews. Don't give it to Derrick Henry to throw. I think it was to Tylan Wallace he was targeting.
Hey, makes you appreciate LaDainian Tomlinson. He would have completed that.
He wouldn't have thrown it. He would have tucked it and run for a touchdown.
LT would have thrown that bad.
Gotten his 30-second rushing touchdown of the season. But
I love that play because of him. I don't like it with Derrick Henry, though.
No, Derrick Henry can't pass. But
did you ever see LT do the halfback pass?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I grew up in the LT era. I actually, fun fact about LaDainian Tomlinson, I hated him growing up because he broke Sean Alexander's rushing record the year after Sean Alexander said it.
I'll give you a pass for that. That's fine. That's true fandom.
Which he was great. He was fantastic. I love LaDainian Tomlinson on the Jets because that was such like a weird 2-season thing where I was like, all right, go off, King. But I remember when he broke it, I was like, what are we doing? Like, he just set this record. And that is a record that we will never see broken. What? It was 32 rushing touchdowns in a season?
Nah, not anymore. I mean,
that was 2 rushing touchdowns a game.
Yeah, McCaffrey tried it, but no.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, it's never going to happen. Texter's still going in. Lamar goes to San Francisco.
It's our guy KC Rick. I'm not being triggered by you Mahomes fans, man. Look, I will never be kids. I've accepted defeat on the Chiefs and the Super Bowl aspirations of my team. Who knows? Maybe we can luck into one. I was jokingly telling somebody the other day, I wish that we could have played the Bengals in our Super Bowl. I don't know how the one time we didn't go we didn't go in that run, Mahomes didn't make it either.
So. The Rams, Bengals. Yeah. If you look at the last 10 years of Super Bowls, that one sticks out like a sore thumb. You're know, what happened? What happened that year?
Joe Burrow and them just got lightning in the bottle.
Good for them. Good for them. I do want to wrestle with this question that I've been thinking about ever since Sunday night, where Caleb Williams had a very good game against the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like, in that game, he was doing everything that Ben Johnson, I think, could ever have wanted from him. Went 19 of 28. Maybe you want that completion percentage a little bit higher, but throws for 298, 4 touchdowns. By the way, adds a couple of yards on the ground, looks dynamic. And the talk yesterday was Caleb Williams has figured it out. The Chicago Bears, they're here. They're here to stay. And this is the question I've been wrestling with, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Is Caleb Williams figuring it out, or is Dallas just the worst defense we have seen in the last decade?
I think it's more likely what you just said over Caleb Williams figuring it out.
Oh, you think it's him figuring it out? I think it's
Dallas. I think it's Dallas.
Oh, defense. Okay.
Defense being bad. Look, if in order for Caleb Williams to have figured it out, we need to see at least 3 games strung together where he looks like he looked last Sunday. Because it can't just be a one-off.
Yeah, Justin Fields looked like he figured it out a couple of different times, one-off games when he was the Chicago Bears quarterback. Look where he is now.
Yeah, and not to throw Baker in their category, but when Baker came back to where, people were respecting him, it was his consistency with his performances, not the big performances. Like, you're going to find big performances from guys here and there. It's the professional football league. You would expect it. Yeah, it's the consistency at that level that makes you think that somebody's figured it out or they're turning the corner. So, yeah, let's see what he does this weekend. Who do they have? I forgot. Oh, the Raiders. They got the Raiders on the road.
The Raiders.
And I say that because the Raiders, again, if there's one thing you can always depend on in the NFL, when somebody gets smacked, the next week they're going to give you their A++ effort. So that awful,
especially with Pete Carroll as your head coach.
Yeah, that awful display that we saw against the Commanders. We're not expecting to see that when they're back home and comfortable. So we'll see if the Bears can answer those questions as well.
And it'll be interesting as well because Caleb, he's never had success at the NFL level. How does he handle it? Yeah. How does this week of preparation look for him? He is coming off of this game where he was the 3rd best quarterback in according to adjusted EPA per play at 0.498, which is an extremely high number. He was extremely efficient through the air against the Dallas Cowboys. But for all of you Bears fans that are pounding your chest about Caleb Williams figuring it out, the Bears, Just talk about the Cowboys defense being all-time bad. 31st in the NFL in PFF defensive grade. They are the worst rush defense in the league. They rank 31st in the NFL in EPA allowed per play, 31st in dropback EPA, 19th, good for them, 19th in EPA allowed per rush. But then PFF has them rated as the worst rush defense, and they're 27th in the NFL in success rate allowed. Teams are running a successful play against them 48.1% of the time. Dallas's defense can't stop a nosebleed. Insert whatever cliche you want to here, because Dallas's defense fits that bill. They are not good. They allow nearly 400 yards of total offense per game, nearly 300 pass yards per game, and they allow 31 points per game. Look, I could look like an all-pro quarterback against that Dallas Cowboys defense, the way they were playing. And, oh, by the way, in that game, they lost Trevon Diggs, their cornerback one, which gave Caleb Williams a lot more opportunities to move the ball through the air. Another storyline that's come out of it is, maybe Rome Odunze, he isn't a bust. Maybe Luther Burden and him are a great 1-2 punch.
I can tell you Rome Odunze is not a bust.
No, I can tell you that too.
Yeah,
but
he's good.
You can't use that game as the example. You cannot use that. Any game against the Dallas Cowboys are going to make you feel in some type of way if you're the fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, if you're a fan of the team that's playing the Dallas Cowboys.
Let this be a lesson to everybody listening and to everybody watching the Cowboys. Your defensive line is just as important to your defense as the offensive line is to the offense. If you can't stop the pass, you need a pass rush, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good pass rusher, I don't care who you got covering nowadays.
Oh my God.
You could have a collection of Deion Sanders, like 6 of them in the secondary, and they're not going to stop today's offenses where they utilize so much spacing. Like you can't stop that if you can't get pressure. And it makes it so much easier for teams when they're going up against you and they know they got at least 2 Mississippi. Like it matters. I know people kind of downplayed it or tried to downplay it, but the glaring weakness of this defense right now is that they have no pass rush. It doesn't have to be Michael Parsons. You can't even get a pass rush through committee. You can't even design blitzes to get pressure on quarterbacks because guess what? You can't cover well enough. There's just an imbalance on this defense. And all we heard when they got rid of Micah was, we got better at stopping the run. Now everybody's getting 400 yards on you in passing. Like what the? And
according to PFF, they got worse against the run as they're the worst graded rush defense in the league. So they didn't get better. Sure, your EPA allowed per rush is just barely below league average, but you're still horrible. Like you are abysmal in everything else. However, there is some good news for Dallas Cowboys fans because Jerry Jones said, quote, "If I had the opportunity to really do some good with those picks, I would do it. We've got them, and that's one of the advantages to making the trade. You got to have something that comes your way that's really special, and if you got the currency to do it, which in this case would be draft picks, we'll do it." I don't know if he knows this. He might. Green Bay's got this defensive end that's pretty good. Could potentially try and go out and get him. His name's Micah Parsons. Like what? Bro, you had the special player. You did what the draft picks were supposed to do. And now you're saying, we'll go out and get a special player with these draft picks that we have.
Let's not believe anything Jerry says. Watch how Jerry
he's
acts
trying to
over
run
what he says.
He's trying to do the what was it? What trade was it when Jimmy Johnson took over the team?
The Herschel
Walker
yeah.
trade. He's trying to recreate that, but he forgot the most important part of the Herschel Walker trade. They got like 7 picks for Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
They got what? 2 for Micah?
Yeah.
What an abysmal thing. But hey, if there's a special player available, they'll go out there and trade him. If only they had that special player before and they wouldn't have had to trade him. Oh, that's right. They did. But Jerry Jones refused to work with his agent, the most influential agent in the National Football League. And you burned the bridge. Come on, Jerry. Jerry's lost it, man. Stephen Jones has got to do a mutiny.
I don't
know
if you want Steven to take over.
Yeah,
Steven drafted Taco. Jerry wanted Micah. I mean, at least he got that right. But I don't know, man. Again, a storyline that honestly, at this point, we don't even need to keep repeating it. It's abysmal for the Cowboys. Yeah. It's exactly what you thought. It's going to be a long season.
It's going to be a long season.
I would just look for Small victories, man. If the team competes, if the team competes, that means something.
If you hold a team to under 400 yards in a game, congratulations.
I don't know why you would hire Eberflus as your defensive coordinator, and I don't know why you would bring in Schottenheimer as your head coach. I don't understand either
Offense
one of
ain't
those.
horrible. Offense ain't horrible.
Yeah, but Schottenheimer didn't call plays last year, so who is he calling plays?
He's called
this year?
plays this year.
Okay, well, congratulations.
He called plays when he was with the Seahawks.
All right, I was gonna say he didn't call plays with Dallas, and they promoted him to head coach.
Yeah, it's still a crazy decision, but he is calling plays. The offense isn't as bad as I thought, but it might be now that CeeDee Lamb's out for 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's a key cog. Pickens is not CeeDee Lamb, man, but we'll see.
Pickens may lose it on the sidelines again and break his helmet.
He did lose it already,
Yeah,
right?
He lost it big time. And then Tom Brady said something really weird about it. But
what did he say?
He said something a lot. Apparently, it's a saying, but I've never heard this saying before. He said something along the lines of like, George Pickens is destroying his helmet like you go home and kick the dog or something like that. It was a very weird exchange. Tom Brady, Tom, you got some work to do, man. Go back in the lab. Stop recording commercials promoting that you're a play-by-play broadcaster or a color analyst, and instead get in the lab and actually work on being a color
Too busy doing
analyst.
advanced scouting.
Yeah, for the Raiders. You got to figure out what's happening in the AFC West, man. You got to advance scout the Bears. You got to advance scout what's coming with Caleb Williams. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll step aside. I'll be back with more Fitz the Bill here on this Tuesday, September 23rd.
Progressive knows there's so many great things about being a sports fan. Like scoring the company box seats. How great is that? Trick plays that actually work. Prevent defense when your team is winning by a lot. And even more preventative prevent defense as they're hanging on by a thread. And of course, saving money when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's pretty great. Just like trick plays that actually work.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
Complaining about sports? Not so great. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
At Straight Talk, we get it. You say no a lot.
Mom, can I get a tarantula?
No.
Coffee?
No. So we're giving you more reasons to say yes, like a free 5G phone with real unlimited data with select plan activation.
Can I use the free phone?
Yes. See, doesn't it feel good to say yes to more?
Absolutely. Face tattoo?
Absolutely not. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. In-store activation of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Are you in need of funding for your next commercial or investment property? No problem. At Direct Mortgage Brokers powered by Nexa Mortgage, they specialize in helping local business owners and investors secure the funding they need. If you're ready to hear yes to the funding you need for your commercial or investment property, visit today for a free consultation. DirectMB.com. That's DirectMB.com. Don't stress. Get the funding you need for your next commercial or investment property. Visit DirectMB.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
PGA Ryder Cup leaderboard updates are brought to you by Richmond LSV's Fall Bintelli sales event now through October 31st. Low-speed vehicle special financing details online at richmondlsv.com.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkis, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer grocery, or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Richmond's history begins with the James River. Our water system began in the 1830s with iron and lead pipes. Nearly 200 years later, the original water lines are being replaced to ensure that our water remains clean, safe, and reliable. As part of a nationwide effort, we need to know the material of everyone's service line. Please help by taking our water service line survey. Learn more about the city's lead-free water program at rva.gov/public-utilities or call 646-8600. DPU and you. Let's get the lead out.
Hey, Richmond, this is Ben Ingram, and there's only one place in the 804 to stay up to date on all things Atlanta Braves. 106.1 ESPN.
Why, yes, another day, another Indiana Jones. Today it's the Crystal Skull. Which is your favorite? Temple of Doom's weird. I don't like Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom is probably my favorite because it's my first one I saw.
Really? I like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I like the OG.
I had to like do it backwards. I was introduced like halfway through.
Okay. Temple of Doom scared me. It still scares me.
It's not this scary about proficient quarterback play.
There is in the Temple of Doom.
Whoever gave him the nickname Indiana Jones, man.
10 out of 10.
I know I'm probably going to wear it out, but hey, look, until they punt consistently, we're going to have to keep this theme going.
12 quarters of football, 1 punt. Daniel Jones looking like the best quarterback in the National Football League. And look, Mondays are a day for me to kind of sit back and wrestle with storylines and overreactions and everything like that I may have had from the weekend of football. One of them is Caleb Williams legit, or is Dallas's defense just horrible? I came to the conclusion we have to wait and see on Caleb, and Dallas's defense is really bad. And it also made me think, is Daniel Jones legit? Because we saw him for so long just sputter in New York. Sure, he had the one good season in 2023 or 2022 that got him that contract extension where they go into the playoffs and they beat Kirk Cousins and the Vikings in the wild card round. And year one of Brian Daboll looks like a success. It looks like things are turning the corner for them. And that was the only really good year for Daniel Jones in New York. And he kind of flames out in 23, gets cut in 24, lands on the Vikings for half of the season. And in all honesty, I thought when the Colts were signing him as a free agent that this was just I didn't even expect him to make the roster, in all honesty. I thought for sure that Anthony Richardson was the better quarterback. I thought that the Colts would roll with AR-15 and they would probably cut Daniel Jones and go with some other backup that may be a little bit cheaper. Boy, was I wrong. Because the Colts now, through 3 weeks, are one of the best offenses in the National Football League. They're third with an 82.2 PFF grade overall. They have the best offensive grade in PFF. They have one of the best adjusted EPAs per play. They're second in the NFL in total DVOA. And now you're probably like, Jack, what's this? Another acronym? Another nerd stat that you're throwing at us? Yes. DVOA, though, it's simple. It ranks NFL teams based on their performance each play compared to what the league average is, and it adjusts for game situations. So how you perform in close games against great teams matters more than how you perform in blowout games against bad competition. And the Colts, they're second in the NFL in that. They are the second best team, and it's because of the right arm of Daniel Jones, who has the best adjusted EPA per play among all quarterbacks, except for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's shockingly good. Granted, Brock Purdy, much smaller statistical sample.
How is it shocking? He fits the system.
Yeah, I am a official Brock. It pains me when I watch Brock Purdy because I'm like, dang, this guy's really good.
I mean, he's good in the system. I would assume he would be good other places, but it would just look different.
Tom Brady was really good in the system.
Yeah, but I know I always thought Brock was efficient at Iowa State, so I'm not totally shocked.
Yeah,
like, honestly, I'm not.
He was very good at Iowa State.
Yeah.
But that's all to say that, like, is this for real? Are the Colts for real? And Alan, I know you're riding on the bandwagon right now.
I'm trying to get the driver's seat of the bandwagon.
I was going to ask you if there's space for an extra passenger, because after doing some research,
you got to get in
into
before
the numbers,
week 4. So
can I get in now?
You got a few days.
All right, I'm about to get in now because it's legit. These Colts are legit, man.
My gosh, Shane Steichen.
Like Daniel Jones, who was known for fumbling the ball and taking a lot of sacks and throwing interceptions, so far this year, he has just one turnover-worthy play. He has 4 big-time throws, and a big-time throw is something that travels 20 or more air yards. It's fit into a tight window for a huge gain. He has 4 of those. He's only put the ball into harm's way one time with one turnover-worthy play, and he's running the ball well. I mean, he's doing everything that he didn't do in New York. He has a 2.83 second time to throw. He's making the right decision. He's getting good protection. And he only has, it's a small sample, but he only has a 5.9% pressure to sack rate, which is by far his best mark in his career. His career average is 20%. And the last time he was a starter in 2023, he had a 31.6% pressure to sack rate. He's doing everything the opposite. What was his biggest Achilles heel in New York, he's no longer doing. He's performing well. He's protecting the football. He's rushing the ball. He's passing the ball. I brought it up yesterday. He's the only quarterback in the Super Bowl era with 3 or more rush touchdowns, 3 or more pass touchdowns, and no turnovers in the first 3 weeks of the season. Shane Steichen's a magician.
That and Jonathan Taylor has been absolutely amazing.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor too. Yeah.
On top of him rushing, he's showing that he's more than reliable as an outlet for passes out the backfield too. He's like a more aggressive version of what Saquon was for him in New York, right? Like he's an outlet, but he's also a guy that he can depend on to kind of steady the ship.
Yeah,
with the run game.
And Jonathan Taylor, when healthy, I think we forget because the last couple of seasons, maybe the last 1.5 years or so, it's been kind of a rocky road for Taylor because he's gone through that whole contract dispute with Jim Irsay. He then gets his new contract. He gets hurt. Last 2 years really have kind of been a wash for Jonathan Taylor. But if we rewind to what he was pre-contract dispute, he was one of the best running backs in the National Football League. He's reclaimed that spot as the best running back in the National Football League. I would say he's the best running back this season in the NFL. Saquon's kind of had a slow start to the year. Maybe Saquon turns the corner. Derrick Henry has the fumbling problems. He hasn't really been Derrick Henry outside of week 1. Meanwhile, Jonathan Taylor, 338 rush yards, 5.6 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. He's averaging over 100 yards per game. Jonathan Taylor paired with Daniel Jones, that might be one of the best QB running back duos in the NFL through 3 weeks. And that sounds insane to say.
Yeah, it sounds insane to say, but if you think about it, if the system still features a lot of RPO, that's probably the the best combination you could come up with over on that side, though, because Daniel Jones as a runner has probably been some of his best highlights, right, with him and his legs. I know, not picking at the Commanders, but he had a lot of good running games against the Commanders when he was with the Giants. And then just, like I said, his comfort with just being able to read the field quickly, get the ball out to his receiver quickly. It makes him a more efficient quarterback. And when he's in rhythm, he's more than serviceable. You can win football games with him.
He's very good. And then, oh, by the way, you have Tyler Warren, the Atlee High School product, who's tied for the team lead in receiving yards with 193, second on the team.
Bears thought Loveland was better for some reason.
That is insane.
I know, that's my second time mentioning
that's insane. But what Daniel Jones did so well in New York, that 1 year he was successful. They did a lot of play action, bootlegs, move the pocket, get him away from the offensive line, and allow him to either throw downfield or rush the football. And typically he ran the football. He's one of the more dynamic runners of the football in the NFL pre-injury. Seems like he's gotten back to that a little bit. And Steichen now kind of doing that where they're going to roll him out, get him outside of the pocket, reset the pocket on a bootleg, and then he's going to find Tyler Warren, who leads the team in targets. Like, instead of running the football, which Daniel Jones is doing, he has 55 yards this year on 17 carries, you're looking for Tyler Warren over the middle of the field, and that has been hugely successful. He has 193 yards, averaging 13.8 yards per catch.
When they get Mitchell involved, then I think we'll see this offense at its maximum performance. Right now, I feel like they're doing well. All things are good, but there's still an element, and that would be the vertical attack with the speed guys. There's still an element of their offense they haven't unlocked yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing their progress. I will say, though, objectively speaking, you learn a lot about a team when things are not going well.
Yes.
Right. So let's see what they do when they're challenged. I'm still on the bandwagon, obviously, but like if the Colts are for real, when people ask those questions, is this team for real? Well, we're going to find out when maybe it's this weekend when they go into Los Angeles and the Rams give them a good game and they've got to gut it out. I think the Broncos win was a good one to gut out. However, that was at home. Let's see it on the road away from your comfort zone. Let's see when Jonathan Taylor's not getting 6 yards a carry, right?
When he's getting 3 yards a pop.
Yeah, let's see when Daniel Jones has 2 interceptions, right? Let's see if the team collectively is about that life. So
yeah, because what happens when you're not getting insane yak numbers from Tyler Warren? What happens when the defense swarms and doesn't let him move the ball after the catch? Because right now, Tyler Warren is averaging 9.2 yards after catch. He's getting the ball.
Crazy. It's like
he's
good.
He's good. He's averaging being targeted just 4.5 yards down the field, and then he's doing the rest with his legs.
Does Loveland have any stats to talk about?
I'm not going to open up that bag of worms with you.
Really thought this man was better than Tyler Warren.
It is insane, but
it's insane.
Tyler Warren's been great. Jonathan Taylor, big test this weekend, but I am on the bandwagon with you there, Alan. All of the advanced numbers, all the underlying numbers suggest to me that Daniel Jones is legit and this Colts offense is legit. And Shane Steichen right now in the front running for Coach of the Year. All right, let's get a quick break in here. Step aside. On the other side, Russ Huesman, head football coach of the Richmond Spiders, will be joining us on this Tuesday morning. So stay with us following their big win against VMI as the Spiders get set for Howard coming to town. Family weekend right here, 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Hey, this is Jack Fitzpatrick. If you've ever been in a car accident, there's one place to call, Schilling and Esposito. I know them personally. I know their work ethic. They focus on their clients and their big dog obsession with getting the most compensation for their client. Heck, they even give you their cell phone numbers. Call them today at 804-320-0950 and put their entire team to work for you. 804-320-0950. Schilling and Esposito.
Horse racing is back, and it's time to get ready for another Triple Crown season. Get the latest from the industry every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 with Off to the Races on 106.1 ESPN, presented by The Racing Biz. Nick Hahn and Frank Vespi bring you their insight and knowledge, talking with the people making the headlines, including jockeys, trainers, and owners. Plus, get the expert picks each week, including a visit by Derby Bill Watson. It's Off to the Races each Saturday morning at 10 on 106.1 ESPN, streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
Don't miss the Green Top Outdoor Expo, October 4th and 5th. Watch the amazing Ultimate Air Dogs, bring the kids for the Realtree Scavenger Hunt, and meet special guests Jerry Michelik, Team Smith & Wesson, and David Blanton from Realtree Outdoors. The Green Top Outdoor Expo, October 4th and 5th.
Are you suffering from a sports injury, chronic pain, or something that just plain hurts? Ortho Virginia can help get you on the road to recovery. As the state's largest provider of orthopedic care, Ortho Virginia's team of specialists offers surgical and non-surgical treatment options. With 12 offices conveniently located in the Richmond area, visit orthovirginia.com or call 804-915-1910 to discover why at Ortho Virginia, stronger starts here.
Soccer and RVA is winding down with just 2 regular season home games left this year. Make your plans now to catch the next Richmond Kickers home game, Saturday, October 4th versus 1 Knoxville SC. Help celebrate another great season with our annual RVA Craft Beer Festival, featuring local craft brews at City Stadium, presented by Bon Secures. Stop by early for happy hour beverage specials and RVA's best local food trucks. Reserve your tickets today at richmondkickers.com. And don't forget, at Kickers games, dogs are always welcome.
Girl, I got a new dryer. You did not. I did. I got the best price in town.
How do you know that?
Because I got a guy.
An appliance guy?
Yeah, his name is Rob. He's gotcha.
Still putting off replacing your old appliances? I'm Rob Nicholson, the appliance guy.
At East Coast Appliance, we're Virginia's largest independent appliance dealer of top brand names. Plus, we have a huge selection of brand new scratch and dent appliances at discounted prices. Visit East Coast Appliance today. The best price, or it's free. Shopping for an appliance but not sure where to start? This is Rob Nicholson from East Coast Appliance, and we believe the first step to finding the perfect appliance is to know exactly what you're looking at. For over 34 years, we've taken pride in becoming Virginia's largest independent appliance retailer with a full staff of knowledgeable appliance experts. So shopping with us first will help you through this process. Whether you decide to buy from us or not, you'll leave with the knowledge you need to make the best appliance selection for your home. East Coast Appliance, the best price, or it's free.
World Class Courts is proud to be a featured sponsor of the 2025 River City Tennis Open, October 3rd to 5th at the University of Richmond West Hampton Courts. We specialize in providing everything you need for any type of tennis court, whether it's clay, hard, or hybrid surfaces. As a manufacturer and supplier, World Class Courts offers surfaces and equipment for every kind of tennis court. We invite you to come and see our recent resurfacing work at the University of Richmond. For more information, visit us online at worldclasscourts.com.
The Bentelli Fall Sales Event is on now through October 31st. Great selection of LSVs and special finance rates are available. Cruise your neighborhood in style with a street-legal low-speed vehicle from Richmond LSV. Bluetooth sound system, seatbelts, and lithium batteries are all standard equipment. Schedule a test drive today during the Bentelli Fall Sales Event at richmondlsv.com or text 804-363-4351. Fun. Fully charged.
Stretch your sports IQ from sideline to sideline, border to border with Matt Josephs, where local meets nationwide news. Buckle up for analysis that crosses every line. No passport required.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill rolling right along this morning, and we are joined now, head football coach at Richmond, Russ Huesman, following the Spiders' 38-14 win over VMI. Coach, how are you feeling after starting the homestand with a little win over VMI?
Yeah, I feel real good. I think we played pretty well in all three phases. Did what we had to do, made some explosive plays. So, pretty excited to get a win at home. And now we just got to keep it rolling.
So that rushing attack was electric for you guys, over 350 yards on the ground. What created that type of rushing performance from your team?
Well, we did a pretty decent job up front to get the thing started. And then I think our wideouts on the perimeter blocked really, really well. Our back, whether it was a back or a receiver with the ball in their hands, they did a great job of making people miss, run through some tackles. For big plays like that to happen, you're going to have to make somebody miss probably or outrun somebody on the perimeter or break a tackle. And our guys did a really nice job of doing that.
How'd you see the youth kind of develop? I know that's been kind of a pretty big point over these first couple of weeks is the youth of this team. How did you see them develop in this game against VMI?
Well, it starts up front and with a lot of young guys there, but we got Trey Gray back, who's an experienced guy at right tackle, and he did a nice job of having him in there kind of, along with Scott Hummel, two older guys, kind of settle us down up front. With some of the younger guys, the Isaiah Dawsons, even Jamal Brown, had really good games for us, and just kind of proud of our guys as far as when the ball was in their hands, they made something happen.
Head football coach at Richmond, Russ Huesman, joining us this morning. Coach, was there a focus in practice this last week that allowed you guys to have those explosive plays, or was it just things kind of coming together?
Well, we kind of knew we had to generate somehow, some way, some big plays. Most of our scores this year have been on 12, 13 play drives, and you can't live like that. You're just not going to score enough points by saying, all right, let's try to grind it out. We knew we had to get some 1, 2, 3 play drives with some explosives in there. And, our coaches did a nice job of, dialing them up and have an idea, what would hit, what wouldn't hit. And Kyle on our second touchdown threw a great ball to Isaiah Dawson there on a little seam route and big play right there. So, between our coaches and our players executing, I thought they did a nice job.
Another weather delay for this team, Coach. I think second one of the season already. Sometimes you can go multiple seasons without even getting one. Now you've had another. This one was a little longer, happened right at the tail end of the first quarter. How did your team handle it, and how did they use it to come out stronger post-weather delay?
You never know how to handle those things. We wanted to make sure, obviously, we had food for the guys. Being home, we always had access to some food in the Robins Center. We always bring a trunk with us. And, if we think we could get some weather, we bring, some bread and peanut butter, things like that, give them an opportunity to eat. But it was a little different in our locker room this week. Probably not as conducive to keeping yourself prepared in the fact that, we had a lot of auxiliary people outside our football team and our training staff. We had a bunch of people in waiting out the weather, and normally that doesn't happen, especially when you're on the road. You just go in the locker room, it's just your football team. And this one, there were a lot of people in there, and as I walked in, a bunch of people that I didn't recognize, but I knew they had to get in and out of the lightning and the rain. So I didn't say anything. I was a little nervous about it, but it was okay. We worked out all right.
And your defense came out of that kind of hair on fire. They held VMI to just 229 total yards. I think just 34 rushing yards on 23 attempts. The defense has been a strong point for this team to start the year. How have you guys been able to keep up the intensity so far?
Yeah, our defense has been really good. 229 yards and 75 was on the first play of the game for them. We had a couple missed tackles, poor angles to the ball, and you can't give up those plays. But I think maybe in the second half, I think VMI may only had 32 yards total offense there. So really good job, our guys. We gave up 2 touchdown passes that probably shouldn't have occurred, and that's disappointing. But I think for the most part, we're playing the run real well, and our back end's doing a good job too. So, when you hold somebody to 229, 14 points is still a good day's work. You got to be proud of them.
And, Coach, overall in the win, which unit impressed you the most? Was it the defense with what they were able to do? Was it the offense erupting for the 38 points? Felt like that had been kind of something we had been asking about quite often here to start the season. Which unit impressed you the most in the win?
Well, for sure offensively, because we haven't been, creating big plays. We haven't been great on offense by any stretch of the imagination. And, for us to come out and get the big plays, for our guys to execute and do the things we needed to do offensively, was really something that was good to see, and hopefully we can keep that going.
Head football coach at Richmond, Russ Huesman, joining us this morning. Coach, now you look ahead. You've got Howard this weekend for family weekend. What goes into the game to keep the momentum rolling from this win?
Well, we always talk about, enjoy the win, but when we come back to work on Sunday, it's all about preparation. It's how you're going to prepare, how you're going to practice during the course of the week. Are you going to take care of your bodies now still? Are you going to get the extra film work on your own? And, those are things, that have to happen. And no matter what, you got it, a win or a loss. You just got to say, all right, let's come back on Sunday, put it behind us, and go ahead and get back to work. And our guys are really good. I mean, they're hard workers. It's important to them. So I look for our guys to come back, and prepare themselves to be ready to go win a football game. Howard's got a good football team. They're tremendous. They're athletic, all the way across the board, defensively, offensively. They've got weapons, and they're well coached. And so this is going to be a huge test for us. And, our guys better be ready to go or we'll be in trouble.
I know it's family weekend. Does that add any extra kind of distractions to the team going into the week?
No, our guys, family weekend doesn't pertain to any of our guys. We're playing football, but on family weekend we get a nicer crowd, which is pretty cool. This atmosphere for VMI was really good in the first quarter. I mean, there were a lot of people there on both sides. VMI brought a great contingency, and we had a great crowd, and it was really cool to see. And then when the weather delay hit, it came out, and it almost looked like we were back in a scrimmage, and I don't blame them. I believe if I'd have been somebody that was there in the first quarter and 3-hour weather delay, I'd have probably been sitting in my chair watching it on ESPN Plus. So I don't blame them for it, but it's great atmosphere, and hopefully the family weekend, we get another really great atmosphere this weekend.
How much does your team thrive off of that type of atmosphere when it is a little raucous inside of Robins Stadium, when you have a lot of people out there? How much does that help the team?
I think it helps, no question about it. I mean, when you see, people in the stands, they're supporting you. I think in some ways, deep down, you want to do well for them, and we appreciate the crowd. I mean, I looked up in the first quarter and I said, man, this is nice. We got people in the stands, and we greatly appreciate it. And like I said, when we came after the 3-hour delay, as we came back out, I kind of had a feeling that there weren't going to be a whole lot. Be just the diehards family. My family hung in there, probably players' families hung in there, but the rest of them probably, like I said, watching on ESPN Plus, and I don't blame them one bit.
Yeah, I think if it was a 3-hour weather delay for myself as well, I would have found my way to a chair watching it on ESPN Plus as well. But a good win regardless, 38-14 over VMI. Coach, good luck this weekend against Howard as you guys stay home for family weekend.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys.
There goes Richmond football head coach Russ Huesman following the Spiders' 38-14 win over VMI. There was that 3-hour long weather delay right at the tail end of the first quarter. Threw a wrench in some things, but it didn't really bother Richmond all that much. They came out of it. Their defense played with their hair on fire. They had an excellent defensive showing, and the offense finally erupted. 38 points. They did a majority of that work on the ground. Jamal Brown, Andrew King both go over the century mark for the Spiders as that offense found itself into a rhythm against VMI. They'll look to keep that going this Saturday at home against Howard. Kick is at 2 p.m. Coverage will begin 1:30 p.m. right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. It's family weekend at Robins Stadium, so it should be a full crowd there as they are getting set for a big game against the Bison of Howard, 2 p.m. kick. So appreciate Coach Russ Huesman for taking some time out of his morning to chat with us about their upcoming game, about their win, as they are now 2-2 on the season, wins over Wofford and VMI, and they'll look to keep that momentum going as they continue with Patriot League play on October 4th at Bucknell. Stay right here. More Fitz the Bill is coming up on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, where Richmond talks the Spiders.
Looking for the perfect golf course? Check out RVA's best kept secret, Queenfield Golf Club, just a few minutes past Mechanicsville. Reserve your tee time today at queenfieldgolf.com.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast, 10 to 11 every Saturday morning on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Serving Richmond and beyond for over 20 years, Bonaire Shell features a full line of automotive services. Check out BonaireShell.com, loaded with coupons, specials, and more to see all that they can do for your car and your peace of mind. And now with their Fuel Rewards program, you can save at least 5 cents per gallon on every fill-up. Learn more at FuelRewards.com. Go see the team at Bonaire Shell, 8762 West Huguenot Road. Go to BonairShell.com or call them at 272-3232. That's 272-3232.
This has been Ingram with the Atlanta Braves. Keep it locked here on 106.1 ESPN, your home for the Atlanta Braves all season long.
It's Ryder Cup week. Stay tuned to 106.1 ESPN Richmond for leaderboard updates for the Ryder Cup, live from Bethpage Black Golf Course in Farmingdale, New York, presented exclusively by Richmond LSV. Special financial available on all Bentelli low-speed vehicles through October at richmondlsv.com. Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill as we wrap up this Tuesday edition. It has been brought to our attention that our phones have stopped working for the time being. So apologies if you've been calling in the last day or so, because we just now realized that our caller ID has not been popping up and we've missed every single one of the calls. That's on us. Hand up. That's on us.
Nah, that's hand up. That's not on me. I can't control that.
It's ringing. So if you call in, you probably hear ringing. You're like, why aren't these cars?
I know it.
Up?
And I'm not often looking at the phone.
The phone is like off to the side, so we don't see when it's ringing. We normally have an app on the computer which like blasts it in front of our face so we don't miss it. That's now broken. So apologies if you've been calling in. We'll try to get that fixed and get it going. If you ever try to call in and it's not working, feel free to text us and be like, hey, yo, pick up my call. 804-327-0888 that you can call and text that number.
I still might not answer.
And we still might not answer, but at least you tried to get through it in more ways than
unless
one.
you're KC Rick, who keeps harassing me about my Niners.
Hey, we may block that number.
I might have to block everything of Patrick Mahomes, like, because it doesn't matter. No matter how bad he plays.
1 and 2, even at 1 and 2, they're still haunting
I'm telling you, no matter what he does, I just hate seeing him.
Man, who would have thought that the Ravens-Chiefs game going into week 4 would be the battle of 1 and 2s?
Well, the crazy part about that too, if you follow the gambling lines and stuff, the way they're capping these games is that they're telling you like this is a bounce back spot for the Ravens.
Yeah,
because the Ravens are favored by 2.5.
The Ravens, and it's in Kansas City.
Yeah, in Kansas City.
I think the Ravens are the better team.
I mean, I think they're the better team.
Well, this is the
I thought they were the better team last night too.
They were the better team against the Bills, and they've been the better team every game.
Ain't what the results say,
and it ain't what the results say. And look, at the end of the year, AFC North, I guess, luckily enough for them, hasn't been a bunch of world beaters. We're at 1 and 2.
You hit it on the head yesterday. The Browns are going to win the division.
Hey, watch out, baby. Who would have thought the Bengals without Joe Burrow and the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 40-million-year-old Aaron Rodgers would be leading the AFC North at 2-1.
Who are also dogs against the Vikings in Pittsburgh, which is strange. I don't care about what the Vikings did to the Bengals. This is still Carson Wentz on the road.
Carson Wentz. And look, I think the Vikings shadow bench JJ McCarthy. I think it's a fake ankle injury. They're trying to just keep under wraps.
It might work.
It might work. Talk of the Town game of the week this Friday night will be out, tentatively scheduled to be out at the Hanover at Atlee game. Super excited for that one to make it up to Atlee to check them out as they take on Hanover. That is our tentatively scheduled Talk of the Town game of the week. And tomorrow, our Talk of the Town student athlete of the week is RJ Hudson, defensive end at Varina. Wanted to highlight one of those Varina defensive players after their fantastic performance against Hermitage.
About
it was
time,
a 33.
man. I'm sick of all these quarterbacks getting shined.
That
and
was also
stuff.
the other thing. I was like, well, we went offensive lineman, QB, and now we're going defensive
you're right.
end.
Offensive line was worse.
Come on. I spread the
More
love.
to the trenches.
But the trenches are back. RJ had 2 sacks and a pick 6 in the win for Varina in that 33-10 win over Hermitage. And he's a guy that just kind of picked up football recently. So it'll be our interview with him tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we'll be all things high school in hour number 2 tomorrow as we bring in the Ball in Virginia 804 guys. They'll be live in studio tomorrow. Super excited for that. Talking all things high school in hour number 2 on Fitz the Bill. Keep it locked right here because we are where Richmond talks sports. Clinton and Friends goes into the Rich Eisen Show, border to border at 3. Then the mashup hour with Matt and Bob Black takes you home with the Sports Huddle from 5 until 6. You don't want to miss any of it. And we're back same time, same place tomorrow, 8 a.m., 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
From the ESPN studio, presented by Ortho Virginia.